What's up, guys? This is another Monday Night Raw review with myself, Genetic Minority, and Chase Oliver 68 for the night of, what was it? 2-2? 15?
Yeah, it's now February, man.
Yeah, it's February. You know, Valentine's Day, love is in the air, blah, 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 blah. I have to pretend like I love stuff in order to keep my job because my kids are like, "Do you love stuff, mister?" And I'm like, I guess. But we got Monday Night Raw, and I don't know about you, Chase, but personally, it seems like it took a step back into the kind of ridiculous nonsense it had been over the past few weeks.
Yeah, this Raw, it had a lot of good in-ring action, but that was really the meat that carried this show. Because, like, otherwise, the rest was just kind of like, huh? Like, it wasn't, like, I wouldn't say a terrible episode. Like, this is nowhere near as bad as when we were first doing the podcast, but this wasn't particularly a good episode, I would say.
Yeah, there's just some things that just, like, the in-ring work for everyone, for the most part, was fine. It's just so much, this goes back into this, and so much stuff doesn't make any sense. Like, there are so many things this goes back to, when Erick Rowen just joined Team Cena. It's like, it doesn't make it, a lot of the stuff was kind of like that, where it's like, why is this thing happening at this time, or even at all? But let's just go down the list in order. Raw opens up with the Authority, who are trying to just cash in on some cheap heel heat by talking about the Patriots. I don't even know where they're friggin' from. They said Boston, but aren't they, like, I don't know, whatever. And then they are talking about how they have a major announcement.
Mm-hmm.
And they just blather on trying to get heel heat. But eventually that leads to Triple H with two things. One, Triple H calling out Sting at Fastlane, which means Sting will show up, beat him up, and then they'll have a match at Mania. So that's cool that God gets to face off against the Vigilante. And then he basically, for all intents and purposes, calls out Roman Reigns, which is followed by Daniel Bryan coming out, which is followed by Seth Rollins coming out, and all of them saying that they deserve a chance against Bork one-on-one. Which eventually ends in what was the big announcement that was going to be made, which even when you say it like that, like when you say that there's going to be a big announcement, and they talked about it on SmackDown, this seems really dumb because now it just looks like everyone came out and kind of influenced whatever this whole big announcement was going to be, and like it doesn't even matter in the first place. But nevertheless, we get Triple H announces it's Seth versus Daniel Bryan. The winner goes on to Fastlane to face Roman Reigns. And Roman Reigns, or the winner of the Fastlane match, goes on to face against Bork. And this segment was really dumb for me because it basically turns Roman Reigns into that challenge accepted meme. He didn't have to do this. They were like, in order to honor your family and your father and The Rock and the Usos, and it's like he's gonna go to Mania to face off against Brock. He's more than likely gonna win. Why, if for any reason, would he even the phase, like, he's toiling over it, like, yes, he talked about honoring his family's legacy, but hey, you know what his family's legacy is steeped in? Winning titles. He was gonna go do that. So why would he even risk this opportunity to prove what?
Yeah, like, if they would have reworded it and made it say, like, oh, come on, Roman, you're not a man, you can't, like, face off against me or Ryan. I mean, look at you, you're a big, strong dude. Why don't you accept this? Like, if you had Seth kind of just go on Roman a little bit more.
Well, Seth did do that. Seth did do that a little bit.
He barely did anything like that. He freaking just said, like, oh, come on, Roman. Like, you're afraid to face me, the guy who injured Brock Lesnar? Like, that's all he really said. I mean, really, to be honest, it was just, and also with Seth, it's like, kind of like Seth, it always goes back to, like, why does Seth want a straight-up match with Brock Lesnar? I mean, the dude's Mr. Money in the Bank. He has the best #1 contendership anyone wants. Why in the blue hell is Seth okay with this idea? Oh, I'll go face Daniel Bryan. Like, it's just like, I'm fine with the concept of what they're going at. I actually think Bryan versus Roman Reigns is actually really cool.
Yeah.
At Fastlane. And I know that's probably spoiling for people, but come on, really? You're not going to have Seth Rollins versus Roman Reigns main event, a new pay-per-view, especially heading into a free month of the network, man. Bryan versus Roman Reigns is the right direction to go. And I'm fine. Unlike you, I'm actually fine with this matchup. I'm actually cool with it. And I'll explain a little bit more why I'm cool with it when we get to that point. But what I'm saying is that pretty much, like you said, this segment was useless. I mean, they went 30 minutes. They even had to went to a commercial. It was like what TNA used to do you. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Like, there were sometimes in TNA where I would pull out my hair because there would be someone coming out during the commercial break, and they're like, "Oh, we'll be back." And it's like, what? Did they just stand there for like 5 minutes, like morons?
Yeah, because
Like,
if I remember anything from '80s freaking TV shows and sitcoms and the Love Connection, its commercials are 2 minutes and 20 seconds. So do they just stand there? And I don't have a problem with the match or anything like that. I don't want anyone who's listening to this to be confused. I don't have a problem with the match and the way it's set up, or the way what they're doing. It's the way it's set up. Sorry, my misstatement. It's the way it's set up because they make it seem like the way they worded everything makes it seem like Roman has no choice but to put his title opportunity on the line because that's how he proves that he's like the best in the family. But it doesn't really matter because that's never what was it about. Because if you go down the line of his family members, The Rock is on a technical level the most successful one. He's definitely gonna surpass the Usos, so he's already surpassed them in popularity for the most part. Why? It's just like everything that was the way it was set up was one, useless, and two, worded weird. Had they just had Roman Reigns come out and be like, I deserve blah blah blah, and or I deserve to be at Mania, do the Batista deal with it, and have Daniel Bryan come out, and maybe Daniel Bryan goes, well, I think I could have won. A strange set of circumstances, me coming off injury. I'm the number. I never lost my title or anything like that. And then, of course, you have Seth to come butt his stupid nose in and say, neither one of you guys can beat me. I'm Mr. Money in the Bank. Had they just did it themselves instead of having the Authority come out and blabber on about nothing, then this would have probably gone, maybe not gone better, but at least seemed better, not just like, oh, we totally tricked him into... Because that was the whole bit, too. It's like, we totally tricked him into giving up his opportunity. It's like, are we turning Roman Reigns into the idiot fringe now, where he's just going to do stupid stuff for the sake of stupidity?
Yeah, no, they're pretty much like, and also it was more like a shoot on us because the whole hashtag canceled the NFL network. They're making fun of cancel the hashtag WWE network.
Which
they're
is still
pretty much
trending.
making fun of the fact of the fans and saying like, oh yeah, we don't listen to you. Well, here the fuck you go. Gave you Daniel Bryan and Seth Rollins in the main event of Raw. Oh yeah, and by the way, Daniel Bryan now has a shot at the title yet, maybe in the future. So yeah, dog, they were just trying to make fun of us too, for the people who do complain a little bit too much sometimes, saying like, oh yeah, they never listen to us.
Well, you say that, and then a thing will happen where it's like, that's cool, but then they pull stuff like this where it's kind of like they're trying to yam it back in our faces. So it's like, yeah, they don't listen to us. They hear what we're saying, which is distinctly different from listening. They hear what we're saying, they just don't take it and don't comprehend it, don't take it as a valid opinion, which is, I think, a lot of the times where people get mixed up between quote-unquote IWC guys and casuals, and all that stuff gets mixed up. Same thing with there's always groups of people where there's over-passionate, crazy people, but for guys like you and I who are just rational thinking people, yeah, a lot of the time it really feels like they're not listening, because the times when they do hear what we're saying, instead of actually getting things done and making things flow natural and making good storylines and things like that, they just say smug stuff to try to yam it back in our face, and everything's starting to become like a Cena promo all the time, and it's annoying. But
why would you say Cena promo? I want to compare any of the Authority. Okay, I know you don't like Cena at all, dog, but most of Cena's promos are just more of him laughing at himself,
yeah,
and kind of poking fun at himself. The Authority don't poke fun at themselves at all. They literally think they're like gods among us. They can control us and make us feel how we need to feel for the part of this sport. So I don't want to even say a Cena promo.
I say it in the sense of not taking it. What the point is, not taking it serious. No,
but you said they're being smug. Not taking the point seriously, and what you're trying to talk about is two totally different things, man. That's two totally different things, because obviously they do kind of take it seriously, and they have to spend 30 fucking minutes telling us about it, and have to dedicate a great subject of the script to this promo. And this is the usual. Triple H and Stephanie are pissed off at the hardcore wrestling fans. They want to go out there, tell them hey, shut the fuck up. We're just going to be dicks to you guys. We're going to mock you guys a little bit. And then afterwards, we're going to cock tease you guys yet again and show you guys, hey, we're listening, but it's not like we're only gonna do what you're gonna do. But hey, we are listening to you. Like that's what they're doing.
Yeah, you're right.
It's nothing like Cena, man. Like, no, I like. Don't get me wrong. Cena's not. I'm not here to defend Cena. It's just like, it's when he said that, like, it's like a Cena promo. It's like, no, Cena's promos are totally different when it comes down to smugness towards the hardcore fans. If anything, Cena is just admitting that, like, yeah, I should be doing this, but I can't because the money that I'm making right now is so much better than the money I'll be making if I was a heel.
Yeah. But anyway, yeah, you're right. You kind of hit the nail on the head, but it's just kind of, it goes down to, like, just my general annoyance and how, like, the level. It's not really about, like, in my head, it's just annoyance level. It's not even about the content of it. I just kind of blindly see, like, this whole, like, kind of smug, douchey, laughing at, or not taking the situation serious to be both, like, one and the same. But I see exactly what you're saying. But even still, it's just irritating to watch because it's just, like, why? But even in excuse me, to follow this thing up with more irritating ridiculousness, Roman Reigns has a match with the Big Show.
I don't know why they think this match is cool. It's annoying to watch, but Big Show ended up winning, which made no sense to me. And that just shows to you guys, too, for all the people saying Roman Reigns is next Cena, I'm just telling you guys right now, John Cena would never do the job to Big Show on television. John Cena would never do that nonsense. The fact that this guy's comparing him to Cena is just ridiculous. And the fact that these people were happy that the Big Show beat him was ridiculous to me. It's like, okay, you know what? For me, the only reason why I was happy Big Show won was because it shows people, hey, they're okay with booking Roman Reigns to lose. And another reason why I was happy that Big Show beat Roman Reigns is to show the people who are freaking disapproving Roman Reigns right now, like, that's his future. That's his future if he don't win the title. I hope you guys know that. Do you really want that on someone else in the company? I mean, people treat Roman Reigns like he's Garbage Man. Cockfist ain't Garbage Man.
He's not
Garbage Man is a tag team wrestler. Cockfist isn't. Cockfist is someone that deserves it. Cockfist is a botch all his damn moves like Garbage Man does. Garbage Man has one move, and he botched that in the opening against Big Show at TLC. That dude's garbage.
You never let that go, dude.
He ain't garbage. So, like, it's just ridiculous. The fans are now, like, cheering for Big Show. It's like the same dude that you just hate so much. It's just like, Big Show's like a heat sucker. Why would you care? That, like, it's just terrible. It's just terrible to me how fans are acting towards Roman Reigns. I feel like every fan should just kind of, like, relax and just be happy that other people are finally getting a rub. It's like all these fans just take it way too seriously and act like, oh no, this guy can't get the rub. He's not the guy that deserves it. Like, who gives a fuck if he deserves it or not? It's like, if the guy is someone that you know the fans are behind, or the company's behind, and they're trying their best to build a good character out of him, go right ahead. Because everyone compares this dude to Cena. I don't get it. He's like Batista. Anything else, he's more of a Batista than he is a Cena. Because like Reigns and Batista are very similar. Have back and forward matches for the most part, and really can hit their finishing moves very, very well. Reigns, does he get sometimes a John Cena match where he gets his ass beat the whole time? Absolutely. But it's rare when that happens where Reigns gets that type of match where his ass is beat up the whole time and he kips up out of nowhere and he gets like the huge win. Like, Reigns is booked just like Batista. They actually give Reigns friendships and personal things. Like, he's still friends with Dean Ambrose. Something that Batista had with Rey Mysterio. No matter what, like, yeah, we didn't get to see backstage vignettes every week. But you know, like, Batista and Rey, they were really, really close. They would always hang out. You would see that in the Rumble match. They would look at each other and be like, hey, Rey, help me out here. You know, that type of deal. So, like, that's the thing right there. It's just, like, they book Roman Reigns so much closely to Batista. That's just ridiculous that people are calling him Cena, because if he was Cena right now, dog, he'd be getting booed out of every building.
Yeah.
You can tell. Just watch the matches. You guys have WWE Network, if you still kept it. But if you did, you have WWE Network, look at Batista and look at Roman Reigns, and please tell me how these guys are not similar or on their way to the top. Because Batista was just as garbage in the ring. And I'm a huge Batista fan.
Yeah.
But he was garbage at the time he was going for the time.
Yeah, I don't know, like, I never thought that, like, Roman Reigns is anything near being Cena because, well, John Cena's still alive, so that's the first problem. And two, it's just like, you know, even when it comes down to, like, him having, like, a Cena-type match, other than the thing that separates John Cena from everyone else, because almost every wrestler at some point, I mean, Dolph Ziggler has more Cena-like matches where he will get beat up the entire time than Roman Reigns does. You know, the difference being WWE doesn't care about Dolph Ziggler, so he'll lose a lot of them, but he still has more matches where he gets beat down a lot and then comes out with the victory. Daniel Bryan freaking won at Mania, like, in a Cena way, and everyone cheered it. So, for people to keep comparing Roman Reigns to John Cena, he's not... I never thought of the comparison to Batista, but I think you hit the nail right on the head. I personally don't have a problem. I don't have a problem with Roman Reigns being in the main event. I just had a problem with the way things are booked. I'm totally fine with
the way things are booked are terrible.
Yeah, the way things are booked is the only problem. Him being in the main event, I'm just glad there's someone else being in the main event spotlight. I have been sick and tired of the years and years and years of constantly Cena in the main event spotlight. Even when he's in the back, supposed to be in the background, he still somehow shoves his face in the main event spotlight. So I'm ecstatic. All right, I wish Roman Reigns the best. I hope he can remain healthy and stay in the main event and remain over. I don't know why people are wasting all their time and effort booing him when there are plenty of other people you need to boo and try to get off TV or
there's like plenty of other losers out there that should be booing. Like, why Roman Reigns? Just because he's not everyone's favorite. It's like, why, man? There's so many more other garbage performers.
Like the Garbageman. Why are you guys not booing him? No, instead we're cheering for him backstage when he's having a conversation with Cena about how he, never thought he was going to be his own person. But we'll get to that. No, let's boo Roman Reigns. Keep the Garbageman. Ridiculous. Some fans, sometimes you guys get really ridiculous about it. I understand not liking a guy. That's fine. You may not want to see that guy on top. But on the flip side of it, is there so many worse people? Like, I for the most part wasn't a huge Randy Orton fan when he initially started. But you know what? I was glad to see someone else being in a main event spotlight. I wasn't a huge Batista fan when he started.
That time when Triple H was just like, that was like the first time ever too, man. When because they brought back the World Heavyweight Championship and all.
Yeah.
That was the first time ever where the World Heavyweight title didn't go back into Triple H's hands.
Exactly.
After someone beat him for it, because it was always like, okay, Triple H is champion, he'll lose the belt, but don't worry, he's going to get right back. And then afterwards, that person would hold the belt for a while, just so that we kind of not get too sick of Triple H being champion.
Yeah.
And then he would just win the belt right back. So that was kind of like the first time ever where Triple H didn't win the belt right away. So it was kind of refreshing to watch. And I've always been an Orton fan, and he was. And you see the thing with Orton, and here's the thing: unlike most wrestling fans, I can tell when my favorites are not ready to win a world title. Randy Orton, when he won his world title, was nowhere near ready. He didn't deserve to be world heavyweight champion at that time. There's so many other dudes. Like, you can even argue back then, John Cena was a guy that should have been world champion over Randy Orton. Back then, the rapper Cena, that dude should have been world champion. But hey, you know what? They took a risk, and that's the thing about this company. They have to take risks, people. They have to take risk. And Dean Ambrose, Seth Rollins, and your boy Bryan, they'll get their shine one day. Like, I love Dean Ambrose. I love Seth Rollins, man. Daniel Bryan, I'm not a huge fan of his, but I can tell this guy is great for business. This guy is someone that is definitely a key piece of the puzzle. I've said it many times, he's a star in the company. And even though I didn't like that he won the titles at WrestleMania 30, I could wholeheartedly admit he was the right guy because of the storyline they were working throughout the whole summertime. Just saying, it's like not everything has to go your way, and it doesn't mean all the damn time that we need to freaking listen to the fans, because if we keep listening to the fans, nothing's going to change. It's going to stay the same old shit.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
I love that logic, too. It's like...
I don't want to see Daniel Bryan overcome the odds again, the authority storyline, you're a B-plus player. Fuck that. I get it. You guys feel like he deserves the title, but here's the thing. It'll make the chase even more fun when you're waiting, and by summer or fall this year, when he finally wins the title again, and he enters the champion as Mania facing Bray Wyatt at 32, if that's the case, because that's what I would book. Fuck yeah. That would be awesome. That would be like the fucking greatest way that you could get Bray Wyatt into a fucking star, by facing world champion Daniel Bryan, who's been chasing the belt for a while. So it's not like the end of the world if Daniel Bryan can't win the title at WrestleMania 31. It isn't. Because Daniel Bryan, at this point, he don't need to be a world champion. He just needs to help out other talents with his star power. I'm not saying put over everyone. Oh, hell no. I'm just saying he needs to be the dude where you use his star power to help this guy out in a match, to make this guy look really good, because we know Daniel Bryan can put on a great match. And that way that other dude gets some shine just for wrestling Daniel Bryan, especially if it's a highly competitive match.
Yeah.
That's just my take, you know?
No, I agree. You know, it's just sometimes you gotta take that person. I mean, that person's got to take licks in exchange for someone else to build some star, because that's the big thing too. Is I love fans' logic. Is like, it's the same thing over and over again, and it's like, but if the fans were booking it, it would be the same thing over and over again, just in a different form. Oh, will it be Daniel Bryan instead of Cena? Excuse me, but that doesn't make it better. That just makes it different. It doesn't make like.
It's like we know Daniel Bryan's gonna be safely booked in the future. It's not like Daniel Bryan didn't screwed like Bret Hart did. Like here's the thing: Bret Hart got screwed like really, really bad after he lost his title in '93.
Yeah.
I mean, he was feuding with Jerry Lawler and Doink. You guys remember that shit? He was feuding with Isaac Yankem. I mean, Bret Hart. If anyone you guys want to talk about, one thing about Bret Hart's career is that how patient and persistent he was, because when he won the title back again later, and goddamn it, '94 when he won the title at WrestleMania 10, and made it all worthwhile, like he sat through that shit. And I feel like Bret Hart got worse shit on than Daniel Bryan has ever gotten in his career, because I bet you Bret Hart would love to have done the program Daniel Bryan has done, even though a lot of us see it as quote unquote burying, when freaking Bret Hart got buried harder than a lot of other people.
Yeah. I don't know, guys. I just say.
I'm not a big Bret Hart fan, but if you watch it, like literally watch '93, you will be like, "What the fuck happened?" Bret Hart's doing. Oh my god! Like I was even doing that because I was watching old pay-per-views in '93. I'm like, "Oh, what's Bret Hart? Oh my god, he's doing no!" Like I was just like, "This is what you do with Bret Hart?" Like, oh, it's terrible stuff.
Yeah, man. I think people just get too caught up on the their guy isn't in the main event, so it's just like it's just a thing. You people get into a mindset. If anything, I understand from where work at. It's like sometimes people just get caught in a loop of the same persistent thoughts, and you can't. And there's no way to break it.
Here's the difference between you and I and other people. Other people just want Daniel Bryan to keep on succeeding, and then no one else can succeed over him.
Yeah.
You and I are saying, oh no, Daniel Bryan can win the title again. We just don't need to win it back right now. That's the difference. Is no one's ever saying Roman Reigns can win the title next year, or Roman Reigns can win the belt, at SummerSlam. No one's ever saying that. They're just saying this guy doesn't deserve it, period. He doesn't deserve to be champion at all.
Yeah.
No one's saying a timetable when this dude can win the title. Everyone's just saying the guy's not ready. He doesn't deserve anything. And it's just like, that's bullshit. At least, just admit that you hate the dude. Because, for me personally, it's like, I'm not the biggest Daniel Bryan fan in the world, but you just heard me right there tell you that, I would have him enter WrestleMania 32 as champion. Yeah, it's so much for me. I actually care about other superstars, and hopefully they do well in this company. And it's hard to do well in the wrestling business.
And then the thing is too, everyone complains they'll say they don't want Roman Reigns in the main event, but then they'll complain there's not enough stars or whatever, and that WWE doesn't book enough guys to be stars. Well, when they do it, you complain about it. It can't always just be Daniel Bryan. It can't always just be the CM Punks of the world. It can't just always be. They'll never do it. It can't just always be the Dolph Zigglers of the world. But so you have to book other guys. I get it. I would love to see. I like Dolph Ziggler. I would love to see him in the main event again. I like Jack Swagger. I would love to see him in the main event again. But it's not those guys' time. It probably never will be, and that sucks. But it's not those guys' time. Right now, it's Roman Reigns' time to build some star. It was Dean Ambrose's time to build star. It was Seth Rollins' time to build star. Daniel Bryan already has his star built. All right, Daniel Bryan is doing what Cena should have been doing, which is having his star, and that's great, but still helping other guys get over without overshadowing them. And that's what will separate down the line Daniel Bryan from John Cena as being beloved as opposed to being despised, because he's going about it the right way. And I don't think people see that. They don't see that everything about his career is going about the right way. He got himself a tag title, mid-card title, world title, rose from literally up the ladder instead of just jumping spots like how most people really do nowadays. And it's fine. It's okay for him to chase. I mean, he's still a face. If you're going by kayfabe, the face has to chase. So why are you even mad about it? That's that. Moving on. Curtis Axel comes out, the real man of the show.
He got no reaction. Tito Ortiz was proud and
Tito Ortiz
was all fucking hot stuff. He was like, that's my boy.
Oh man. So Curtis Axel comes out, And he's talking about how he got blindsided. He's making his case about not winning the Rumble, only to catch a beatdown from the idiot Fringe, who apparently now thinks he's the Tricks Rabbit, and despite the fact that he has been losing matches, thinks he can just challenge Bad News Barrett. Silly.
Well, before the Rumble, so I guess it kind of makes sense, but at the same time, it's like Dean Ambrose, like this dude is like really good, but it's just like the WWE doesn't realize how good he is, or doesn't want to go reach his full potential, because it's like his character, just like we said, he does idiotic things. We don't really know what the Dean Ambrose character is. All we know is that this dude looks different than a lot of guys. He looks kind of crazy. He comes out and beats people up, which is fun to watch. He's very sporadic, very spontaneous. But it's just like, what's his character? He doesn't really have a character. People will make up characters. I know a lot of you guys hearing this will say, Chase, no, this is Dean Ambrose's character. You guys need to look at it this way. It's like, no, you're overthinking it. Because the WWE has not given me this dude a character. Yeah. Besides that, he's just very, very random. And so it's just like Dean Ambrose comes out. He's like, yeah, at the Titan Towers, I saw the wall, and you get your picture as a champion. I want to be on that wall. The fuck, you're already on that wall for a long ass time when you're United States champion.
Yeah.
Why all of a sudden now you're interested? Why all of a sudden do you want the IC title?
Yeah, that's it just becomes one of those like silly rabbit titles are for winners. Like, you haven't been winning. You won one match and you didn't do anything else. That's it. So it's just kind of weird. Not to mention the fact that when you go back to the Dean Ambrose character, he doesn't have a character. He has a quirk, which is very indicative of like modern day horror movie writing, when you have like a group of body count for that movie. Each one of them has like a quirk. They don't have any character development. Like, one of them's a germaphobe, one of them's afraid of the dark, one of them, hates mayo on their sandwiches. And that's what Dean Ambrose is. He's like a modern day horror character, like quirk. He has no character development. Yes, you see him, he has like the stuff with Bray Wyatt about his dad and all that good stuff, but it's still all part of his quirk. Nothing about him has been established other than the fact that he's kind of crazy and he's friends with Roman Reigns and he hates Seth Rollins. That's really it. And even those two last things I just named were kind of up in the air for a while, because he didn't mention a single word about Roman Reigns up until like 3 weeks ago when he said brother, and that's all we needed to know. We're just cool with that. And he hasn't mentioned high nor tail of Seth Rollins either since he got started feuding with Bray, which he swore to like rip Seth Rollins' head off at one point, and he never stopped pursuing him. And all of a sudden he's just like, yeah, I'm done with that though, because he's crazy.
Like the dude, like he's done with like trying to destroy the dude who ruined the Shield and the friendship.
Yeah.
Now he's okay by just
because he's crazy and he's got.
Now he's okay with just like wanting to be on the WWE like offices picture board.
I don't know. They're building Dean Ambrose like he's got OCD. Like he can't focus. Not OCD. What's the word I'm looking for? ADHD. Like he just can't focus on a single task for too long because it just.
Because they told us that he had that. I feel like, but instead you just call him like, oh, he's crazy, Michael. It's like, okay, you can say I can call someone crazy right now. Does not mean that person's crazy at all.
Yeah, well, I mean, look, when you take it like to casual conversation, you say things to people like when we're out here like doing our crazy fantasy booking of stuff. They're like, you're crazy, all generic minority, you're crazy.
Yeah, exactly. Like you can call someone crazy anytime, doesn't mean they're crazy.
Yeah, I mean, like, and okay, you give him the little fancy nickname that you put on shirt, the lunatic fringe. Yeah, he's a crazy person constantly on the edge. On the edge of what? On the edge of actually succeeding at finishing some kind of point he's made? Like, yeah, what is he doing? He doesn't. I get it. Don't get me wrong. I like Dean Ambrose. Don't confuse it. But Chase and I both like Dean. Yeah. We both like him, and that's the thing. See, here's the trick, people. If you listen to this and you're tired of us complaining, or if you listen to Chase, which obviously you get a lot more comments than I do, and people lose their freaking nuts over in your comment section, you have to understand.
I was surprised because my one local review, a lot of people were on my side.
Yeah, that was a shit.
I literally said, you even know, like when you check my description box, I said just dislike it because I know you guys are going to, and I got more likes than I did dislikes, which was surprising and stuff to me. I was like, no way.
Yeah, it's like here's the thing: we wouldn't say anything, we wouldn't be making these reviews if we didn't actually care about the product or want to see it succeed. It's kind of like a parent. We're kind of like parents where we wouldn't say anything if we didn't care. Don't get me wrong. There are some parents out there who say stuff and don't actually care, but we're not one of them. We're actively seeking ways to make the product better, at least in our own minds. Even to going as far as like if something doesn't make sense, we try to make it make sense. But when it comes to Dean Ambrose, the fact that he's crazy and doesn't make sense, you may say that's his character, but that's not a character. That's a quirk. And in psychology, that's just the thing. That's a diagnosis. It's not anything to do with who he is. So hopefully they build a real character around him, other than the fact that he's crazy and likes to elbow drop people a lot. Apparently, I don't know what this whole like Macho Man Randy Savage elbow love came from with his character, but yes, the Idiot Fringe came out, challenged Bad News Barrett. That's a thing. He beat down Curtis Axel. Sorry, Kurt. Hang on the back. Enjoy that like 2 minutes on TV.
And what was the point about? I was just thinking, what was the point of your having Curtis Axel tonight? If that was what you had lined up for him, like, I know Curtis Axel was no star or anything, but it's like really, like he actually has a good point. He actually has something going for him for once, where he could just literally say, "Hey, where's my title shot?" I mean, he has a point. It's not like Curtis Axel's like coming in there with no valid argument. He does have a valid argument. It's just kind of like you're throwing him under the bus, and you're not really using this to your advantage and saying, "Hey, we can build a storyline where maybe Curtis Axel accidentally gets opportunities, but we forget about him or something."
Yeah, they even the person who comes out to beat him down, like, okay, once again this goes back to Dean Ambrose's quote unquote character. He comes out there talking about that. Why is he not beating down Garbage Man? I mean, if you're going to stick him, that's the person that took him out of the Rumble. It would only make too much sense if he came out there in the middle of Garbage Man's match, which obviously he can't do that because of who he's facing, but it would only make too much sense that he'd go and beat up Garbage Man before Garbage Man's match and have him all injured and like, yo, you took me out of the Rumble, I'm going to take you out of your match tonight. No.
Like, just do something with Curtis Axel, at least. Like, because I'm saying, like, otherwise it was just like, could have used Axel's spot for someone else on television.
Yeah, you could have easily just put anyone else coming out there. Honestly, if Curtis Axel didn't get knocked out of the Rumble and it wasn't a thing over social media, that probably would have been like Cesaro or Tyson Kidd or something like that. Like, it would have been one of those guys if they were like, just because Curtis Axel happened to be around and wasn't busy. It probably also could have been like Zack Ryder. It could have been any litany of guys. But
yeah, exactly.
But Curtis Axel has some kind of stake into what he was saying, actually, and we probably actually could have got behind something that he was doing, like if he was going on this, like, just jobber style, but like run up the ladder where he's like, sneaking his way into main event matches and winning them, and you'd be like, Curtis Axel just win at a main event, like, and he's getting into main events and possibly running towards like title shots coming like the next year or so. Then you could at least do something with him.
Like I said, we said this in the Superstar game. Axel will never pull you away with his personality.
Yeah.
But to wrestle, it's just like, and you guys need new people, need new threats. So, whether Curtis Axel could be that guy, I mean, I'm pretty sure Axel and Bryan could be a really good match.
Yeah. I think it would be I think Curtis Axel, once again, like we said in our predictions video, and you should watch that if you haven't already, because not that many people watched it. He can put on a good match. Yes, his personality is not going to blow you away. I get it, But Kofi Kingston was never great on the mic, but he can work in that ring, flying around the ring all the time, And when you get something, much like Kofi Kingston, when you get him in a storyline where what's going on matters and it's relevant to him, like I always bring up his feud with Randy Orton, it's something people can get behind and will actually watch and may build him up to be just a little bit more than what you may have thought he could have been. And
I'm saying, if you're going to have Curtis Axel on TV to make a really valid point, it's just like, make it worthwhile. Don't make it worth just like, well, that was a waste of time. Too bad for Curtis Axel. Like, why put him on TV if you're not going to go give him something out of it in return,
Yeah, now, I doubt it'll happen. We don't know. He may come and stick his nose, because he was a former Intercontinental Champion, stick his nose into this feud with Dean Ambrose. But that might be just too smart, and we're not using WWE logic. So,
exactly.
I'm
just saying that, like Curtis Axel came out there and made a valid point. It was just kind of like they threw it underneath the rug instead of using this to maybe help him out.
Yeah, I personally believe that could have been used to help him out. Once again, we're not talking about building him as a main event or anything like that, but building him as just like, for a little while, gets a good run, like just, hey, Don't forget that Curtis Axel's here.
Especially if you want something different in the main event. Curtis Axel would be someone different. I mean, we're not saying win the title, but like, at least it shows like the WWE were like, hey, we built this character, as this guy who is accidentally winning all these matches. Let's give him a shot and see what happens.
Yeah, just, once again, this goes back to what you said earlier, which is sometimes you got to take a risk on guys. It may not pay off, but
you never know who's going to be the most entertaining dude or who's going to be the key player unless that person speaks up. Because, like, there's so many times in life where you kind of, like, not misjudge, but you kind of, like, say, oh, yeah, that person, no, not really. I don't see that in him. And then all of a sudden that person just shocks you and you're like, wow, holy crap, that person actually was very good. Like, wow. Like, you know what I'm saying?
I think if they were willing to invest the time, for God's sake, he's a third generation wrestler. You could make him a decent mid carder, at least someone that like to be in the sticking his nose in the mid card business. Maybe even find him a tag team partner and have him deal with something like that. There's stuff they could do with him. They're not willing to take the risk and invest the time on him. But that sucks. We'll see what happens. Doubt anything will happen, but we'll see. Next, we get the Dust Bros versus the Ascension, which I didn't even know they were facing the Ascension because I only saw the Dust Bros come out and did not see the Ascension. So that's cool. The one thing that makes them really popular, which is their entrance, for the most part, at least to the new people that are seeing them, they just cut that right out. And they have them facing the Dust Bros, and what's more important is the feud between the Dust Bros that's brewing.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So,
but just like the Ascension. They're just Xbox, man. I don't give a fuck if they're on my television. And that's a shame because I kind of used to not really was huge fans of the dudes, but I kind of like them a little bit. So it's just kind of like, now they're kind of just like they're doing nothing at all.
It's just good to see. It's good to see new faces. That's the thing. This goes back to this. It's good to see some new faces shaking up the roster. The Ascension were some new faces. They were, from what I had seen, some stuff from them in NXT. What I was hearing seemed like relatively interesting guys. Interesting little gimmick they had going on there. I didn't care if people were like, it's just a, copy pasted demolition. I didn't care about that. I just cared that there were some new faces running around the tag team division, a division that really doesn't.
I'm just saying they haven't been doing their jobs really well. They're like Xbox games. Like back in the day when Xbox would come on TV, you're just like, fuck, get them off TV. Get them off TV. That's how the Ascension are to me right now. And it sucks, but hopefully they can change about soon. But yeah, it's all about the Dust Bros feuding and like Cody
really getting lost in Stardust.
When Goldust called him Cody, he was all like, hey, Stardust, and Cody, he's like, don't call me Cody.
He hisses at him like a cat. Once again, this feud should have happened a year ago, but for all intents and purposes, if you're gonna run the route that Cody has, in order to become more like his brother and to keep up with him, to emulate his older brother, he's become this Stardust character, but unlike Goldust, can't separate the two. This isn't really a terrible way to go about it. The concept that Cody Rhodes is getting lost in this Stardust character, at least as a part of this feud, works. Don't know what they're going to be doing with Cody. Huh?
I mean, it's like what you said. This feud should have happened 2 years ago. It's not like hardcore fans are down to see the Rhodes brother feud, but when it comes down to like everyone else, it's like Rey Mysterio and Cara. That the ship sailed. Like we don't care. Like you can do it, but it's not like I'm going to be like saying, "Oh my God, this was awesome. I'm glad they finally did Rey versus Sin Cara."
Yeah, which that'll never happen either. So it's not a bad way to go about it. It's just the ship has sailed on it, But
totally agree. But man, it should be interesting. I mean, like you said, that Cody has lost his way into the Stardust character. That's kind of cool. Where they're kind of making Cody like he's a psychopath now. That's cool. I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
But I just wish he becomes Cody Rhodes after all of this too. Where he actually once he's done with the Stardust, he comes back and just like some psychopath Cody Rhodes.
Like back when he had the mask and he was just losing it, putting the paper bags over people.
Just being a psycho in general, stuff like that. But yeah, see, what Cody Rhodes' people, what Stardust is doing, that's crazy. Okay, that's something where you look at what Dean Ambrose does. It's not crazy. It's just idiotic most of the time. Am I right about that?
No, you're 100% right. That's why I call him the Idiot Fringe. I mean, the things he does are just dumb, whereas Cody is literally drifting into like psychopath. Like he's drifting into becoming this crazy character, and it's subsequently making him crazy. It's like, spending time in an insane asylum will eventually make you insane. So
Yeah, exactly.
that's once again. Yeah. So next, the Cena comes out so he can sing "Welcome Back, Carter" to Garbageman, Ryback, and Nikki Nemeth. But
Hey, Cena's such a great friend to them, man. Like, remember that time when Cena threw poop on Dolph Ziggler's head? And
yeah,
one time when like fucking Cena called Ryback an idiot on TV and made fun of him.
Yeah.
Right at one time when Garbageman was trying to help out his old friend Bray Wyatt, and Cena just like threw him off the top of the cell. Man, dude, Cena's a good friend of you guys.
Cena's a good guy. He even proved how great of a guy he was tonight. Is when Garbageman was getting beat down by his opponent, who shall remain nameless until we mention the segment about it. He came out there and he said, "Oh wait, no, he didn't. He didn't come out there and do anything. He didn't come out there and do anything at all."
They're friends. Cena stands up for them, but at the end of the day, he don't get fucked.
Well, yeah, but what about that? Chase, we're forgetting about that time.
John Cena's that one friend. He's like that one friend you have. Like, he's like that one friend you have where he says, like, yeah, homie, don't worry. I always got your back. You know me, dog. I have you, homie. Like, I got you back. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. He's that one friend who says that. He's like, you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying, man? Right? You know what I'm saying? I got your back, dog. You know what I'm saying? No, we're friends forever, dog. And then, like, when you call him up, you're like, yo, these mad dudes here. We about to beef. And they're like, oh, man, sorry. I got to go visit my mom. And, she's sick in the hospital. Well, it's like, dude, I know your mom's not sick in the hospital. Your mom's right next door where I'm about to get beat up at. But you just don't want to come out here and take these licks with me. That's cool.
Yeah, he's like that one friend that just, like, says stuff, but kind of just like, yeah, all right, Bradley. You can say that.
All right, I know a guy named Bradley.
No, I just choose Bradley because Bradley just sounds like a sleazy name. It just sounds like a guy that would be like, okay, Bradley.
Man, my friend Bradley's gonna be really upset when he hears this.
For sure, Bradley. I'll see you soon, man. Yeah, homie, and it's like 8 months later, then you see him, and he's like, dog, you gotta kick it in. It's like, man, dude.
Yeah, you're right. He's that guy who's like, man, we gotta chill, we gotta hang out sometime, and then you finally try to find all these times to chill with him, and he's just like, oh, I'm so busy, dog. And like 8 months later, he's like, yo, why we never chill, dude? Because whenever I try to get you to chill with me, you disappear for some reason, and they come talking to you like you've been best buddies forever. He's that guy that talks to you like he's got sandbox love for you from like age 6, but he met you like the last 2 years of high school. And so John Cena comes out. He's singing "Welcome Back, Carter" for these guys, basically for no reason, because it's not like he wasn't feuding with these guys or beefing with them not too long ago. I know that it's part of the storyline, but you can't forget about this stuff, people. Like you can't.
And also WWE has brought back John Cena's asshole-ish nature to
yeah.
Storyline. So don't say like, oh man, we forgot about that. No, they showed the video of Ryback getting buried by Cena on the microphone, so I don't want to hear it, man.
Yeah, if they're gonna keep showing stuff like this,
like a man. At least Cena said that to Ryback like a man. God,
oh man,
that's the worst thing he's ever said to to anyone in 2014. Like Cena was bad on the mic in 2014. That was like the worst thing ever when he went up to Ryback up on it. So he's like, hey, at least I did that. In your front of your face like a man. It was like, what? That doesn't make the situation any better, but we didn't get to that later.
No, you're still insulting him and then simultaneously looking for him to do you a favor.
Yeah, exactly.
At least I insulted you and then asked you for stuff to your face, bro. Like, that'd be like me asking you to do this podcast with me. Like, man, Chase, you know they're like the worst guy on YouTube, right? You're a terrible IWC member. So you want to do this podcast with me?
Exactly.
So he's
ridiculous. Insulting, like, yeah,
at least I said it to your face, Chase.
Trying to make sense of John Cena logic is like, it's impossible.
He's a mystery wrapped in a like a freaking novel and wrapped inside a freaking movie.
But what were we on?
He gets interrupted by Macho Man's ex-girlfriend Stephanie McMahon, and she basically makes matches for the 3 returning guys, the first of which is Luke Harper versus Ryback. Long story short, Ryback wins. He looks strong physically and, like in-ring wise. That's fine. It sucks to watch Luke Harper after they make this guy pretty much one they're investing in out of the Wyatt family lose to Ryback. It doesn't make any sense.
Like, it's so crazy to think, man, dude. Freaking, this guy was a former Intercontinental Champion. You just totally forget about that now. You're just like, huh?
It's like when Jack Swagger was World Heavyweight Champion. Half the time I can't remember how he lost it or how he, like, the in-between stuff that happened. Like, I remember he had a feud with the Big Show, and I think he lost it to, like, Rey Mysterio on a triple threat match, if memory serves. Mm-hmm. You just remember bits and pieces of it. I remember he won it from cashing in. I remember he had a feud with the Big Show. I remember he lost it in a triple threat match. Everything in between, don't remember. Wait, he was champion? Oh, yeah. I forgot. It's weird, but he gets interrupted, and they announced Luke Harper versus Ryback. Ryback wins. They also announced, I'm just gonna say them for the sake of when they come up later. It's Erick Rowen versus Rusev, and Dolph Ziggler versus Bray Wyatt, which I think happened like 2-3 weeks ago, just for like no reason. But apparently now it's a big deal because they announced it, so that's a thing. Next, we get the Usos coming out. Jimmy versus Cesaro. Cesaro got a win in an OD with an OD European uppercut that came like Randy Orton style out of nowhere. And Tyson got some heel heat for drop kicking the other Uso, who's Jay, I think, in the head at the end of the match. But on the flip side of that conversation, Natty was looking like a dominatrix, and I was feeling every minute of it. Just saying. Other than that, I don't care about a Total Divas feud.
Yeah, and then, like, you know, at least Cesaro won a match.
Yeah.
And it's good between the Usos, but it's like, that's the problem, though. It's like, you're happy that Cesaro won, and, like, you know, the Usos are facing the new people, but it's just like, this is the feud. Like, literally, what you just saw tonight, that's what's going to be going on for the next 2 weeks until Fastlane. It's like, that's the only bummer of it, because, like, this right here should be, like, a building block setting up a feud. You know, maybe have it where, you know, Natalia is like, you know, she's all interested in being part of the Usos. She thinks the Usos dance is cool too, and, you know, she wants to join in with Naomi and stuff, and then have it where, you know, the Brass Ring Club are kind of jealous. They're like, whoa, Natty, why are you trying to join the Usos? It's like, do something like that, but instead it's just going to be, all right, Tyson Kidd, you're going to face one of the Usos. Cesaro, you're going to face one of the Usos. All right, we're going to do a random 6-man tag match. Usos, go find some random babyface to team up with. Adam Rose, you're going to eat the pinfall. Okay, you're going to have a good match at the pay-per-view, and that's it. There's the feud. It's like, it's so boring, you know? Like, I get it for a lot of in-ring people. Oh, this is going to be awesome. It's just going to be good matches. But for me, it's like, it doesn't make the Usos more interesting, and it doesn't help out the Brass Ring Club. You know, an interesting tag team in themselves.
And the thing is, too, is like, once again, we go back to nothing makes any sense because, like, okay, Natty and Naomi are friends. That's fine. Tyson is a heel, and he's all, you know, but what happened to the whole Tyson and Nikki Bella? What happened to the whole Paige is Natty's friend? Like, everything just gets thrown out of the window. You can't forget about this stuff just because it's a new month, alright? It doesn't work like that. Our memories don't get wiped. We're not, you know, unless you're freaking WWE's pulling out the Men in Black light at the end of every episode, we're gonna remember the stuff that's going on. And half the time they reference things that happen you can't reference the show where you have two girls last month, or just literally just like a week ago, were being friends and teaming together, and then just not have them say hi nor tail to each other. This goes back to the whole Shield thing. You can't just have freaking Dean Ambrose make reference to Roman Reigns after like a month and a half of not even mentioning his name at all. That's the thing. And it's great, just once again, great to see Cesaro get a win, but you know how this is going to end. So it at least should make sense and be interesting. But it's not going to be. The in-ring work will probably be fine. We'll get a lot of, like, you know, Kings of Wrestling style moves from Cesaro and Tyson, and that will make me happy because I wish Chris Hero wasn't fat. But, you know, we'll see how that goes. It'll probably just be mediocre. Next, we get backstage segment with Mizdow and The Miz. And The Miz fires Mizdow as a stunt double, tells him to stop mimicking him, and then makes him his personal assistant. Which is really weird. I think that should have been in a different order. He should have just been like, yes, he shouldn't have said, you're fired. He should have said, I don't want you being my stunt double anymore. I'm now making you my personal assistant. The phrasing, you're fired, and then him stop talking to him for like that half a second seems kind of weird because it's like, well, he's fired now, so why would Damian Mizdow even waste his time?
I like this. Like, I think it was fine that he said you're fired because he was firing him from the stunt double job.
Yeah.
Which Mizdow loves to do as a character.
Yeah.
And he's like, but I got something else for you, kid. It's going to be my personal assistant. Because, like, Miz is showing you still wants Mizdow around. but he's firing him at the job that like that's what makes Miz a great heel. He takes away the little things and he gets to the character's skin to the point where it's just like, man, I can't believe he freaking fired Miz now for the one thing he loves to do. And that's just being a stunt double. What an asshole. I hate you, man. It's like, that's what the Miz does so well. So, like, I understand where you're coming from. We're just saying, like, I don't know about...
It just seemed weird. That was my own thing.
It seemed weird, but if you watch it over again, you can kind of tell that's the right thing to do there because he's firing Miz down from the thing he loves the most because, Miz can say, you're no longer my stunt double all he wants, but it's just like Mizdow's still going to do it. But if Mizdow's doing it after Miz fires him, and Miz is getting pissed off about it, it just adds more heel heat to the Miz, and it adds more to Mizdow as a babyface.
Yeah, I can see that. It just sounded weird simply because of like the logic of a normal human being. Obviously, that doesn't apply in WWE. But he yells at him, "You're fired." Then that half a second where he's just not saying anything, it's just like, okay, so now you can just walk away. Just logically, but I see what you're saying. I understand the reason behind it, and especially when what happens with them later on in the night at the match. It makes perfect sense later, but it's still just the concept of yelling at him, "You're fired." Well, okay, but you're my personal assistant now. It seems a little bit weird. If he had just moved him down to personal assistant, and then Mizdow kept mimicking him, and he's like, then he yelled, "No, you're fired from being my stunt double. You don't get to mimic me anymore. You're just my personal assistant." I think just in terms of wording, it would have connected better in my head, but even still, it's fine. I don't have a problem with it. I think the Mizdow feud is fine. I think we talked about it in our predictions video. Hopefully they have more for Mizdow, but for now this is going great. I think the Miz is doing a great job as a heel. I think Mizdow is doing a great job as a face. Everything's flowing fine on this. It seems to be the one feud that's flowing perfectly.
WWE's going back to Mexico soon because Sin Cara won a match on Raw. And that's the thing, people. When Sin Cara is winning or if he's on TV in general, they're telling you, hey, we're going to Mexico soon. So that's why this dude's on TV. Don't get pissed off if you see Sin Cara beating somebody you like. Just know it's going to happen.
Basically, we'll just talk about it now because we're talking about the segment. The Miz had a match with Sin Cara, who was dressed in his what I can only assume was when you get really good at when you're 10 years old and you get really good at making calls in WWE games, because it looked weird to me. His outfit looked weird. It looked like a not even a Power Ranger, just like the generic knockoff, Universal Soldier toys. But either way, Mizdow had a match. Sin Cara won, I keep saying Mizdow because that's all I'm thinking about. The Miz had a match with Sin Cara. Sin Cara got the win. I didn't even know they were on their way to Mexico, but of course, Mizdow tried to mimic him, and he yelled at him, got crazy heel heat. It was great. Their interaction was great. The match was fine. Sin Cara getting the win is kind of but I can understand the reasoning behind it, and it's not a permanent deal. So that's just how the dice roll this particular day. I'm not mad about it. That backstage segment with the Miz and Mizdow, though, that was followed by the dumbest backstage segment ever. John Cena and the Garbageman, which I don't care about because it's like the Garbageman's taking his mask off, talking about how he didn't know what he was gonna do with his life. I thought you lived in the woods. What do you mean? What are you gonna do? You go hunt stuff? What are you, stupid? Every time the Garbageman opens his mouth, just more and more, he just gets dumber and dumber. It's and he's back there with Cena, who's once again is playing buddy with him, but Cena's not gonna come out and save him later tonight. So, what did Cena do for you? Nothing. I know. And that's that. Next, we get Nikki Nemeth versus Bray Wyatt. It was a decent match. Bray won looking like a freaking animal, took a famouser, and then just got up and hit Dolph Ziggler with Nikki Nemeth with his sister Abigail and just crushed his dream. So, not only is Nikki Nemeth not in the Intercontinental title feud and they just threw Dean Ambrose in it, he's also eating Sister Abigail's after unleashing one of his signature moves to Bray Wyatt. Think about that for a minute when you go around saying, they're finally going to give Dolph Ziggler... They ain't giving Dolph Ziggler a damn thing.
Dolph Ziggler is still jobber number one to them. But here's the thing, too. It's just, for me, the match was good. I don't understand why they were beating Dolph Ziggler to Bray Wyatt, but, it's good to know Bray Wyatt can actually wrestle and win matches, because that's the one complaint I have for him as a character. Yep. And I don't think the guy's bad or anything like that. I just got sick and tired of him because literally all they did was send them out there, cut a 20-minute promo, Bray. Okay, Bray, something crazy is going to happen, but instead it sounds like, all right, Bray, go out there and actually wrestle a match, so that way you can prove to people you're a threat to whoever you're going to face. And it's like, that's good, because Bray needs to be wrestling more. I remember there was like a stint when he was feuding with Jericho. It was like 4 or 5 weeks for Raw TV standards. He wasn't even wrestling. He was just cutting promos and stuff like that. And it's like, I get it, Bray can talk, but also the thing is about this business, besides just talking, is what you can do in that 18 by 18 ring.
Yeah.
And what you can do in front of that live audience, and how are you going to be able to kick ass. And that was the problem. They were just kind of making Bray Wyatt talk a little bit too much instead of being the dude where it's like, this guy can kick your ass type of deal.
Yeah, so he looked like that you hit the nail on that one with, he looks good in ring, he looks strong, he wins strong by once again eating a guy's signature move and then just hitting with his sister Abigail like it doesn't matter, which if that wasn't a sign for any Dolph Ziggler fans out there like myself, that was your absolute, you can no longer deny it. He hit him with a signature move and he got up and beat him like he was nothing, because in WWE's mind, Dolph Ziggler is nothing more than someone used to make a guy look stronger as he goes into some feud, which we can just talk about it now. Bray Wyatt at some point later in the night, like right before the main event, cut some promo, basically I'm just saying calling out the Undertaker.
He pretty much just said in that promo, like, hey, I want to face you, Taker. Like, that's, and they're pretty much telling you Undertaker is confirmed. Because I don't think, like, for me personally, if you're in the WWE, why would you waste time of Bray Wyatt cutting these promos if, Taker's a no-go? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, that's that. I don't know. At Fastlane, he should probably feud with the Boogeyman just for fun. I don't know why. I just want to see it. Not feud with him, but have a match with him. Just because, feud with someone like have matches each week with like the individual. Unfortunately, Dorothy Clown died, which sucks. But like individual freaky guys of the past. I don't know. Is Waylon Mercer still alive? He could feud with him. They both had the same gimmick. It's something to do until Mania. But yeah, he's calling out Undertaker. Says people used to fear him, all that other good stuff. He cuts a promo, but the most important thing was he cut it after he just won a match by beating the sense out of the guy that everyone thinks is finally gonna have his spot. So there you go, and that was cool. We almost forgot about. I almost forgot about it because I hate him. I don't hate him. I dislike them. The bells are on my screen, which is what's written on my notepad. The bells are on my screen, so my TV's on mute. But I do realize that the match is Paige versus Alicia Fox.
God, man, Paige and Alicia Fox, dude, we've been getting that match forever, dude. Like, I was like, man, you now that you can give me this match.
Whoa, Chase.
Paige is good in the ring, so is Alicia. They're both good talents. I'm not saying they're bad, they're both good. It's just, I don't care. Like, that's how bad it is with Steven's division. You're just giving them random matches, and it's like, the worst thing the Bella Twins can do to Paige is like, oh yeah, we're making her black. It's Black History Month, and you make it seem like it's bad that she got freaking painted with dark skin color. It's just saying, dog.
Okay.
How fucked up is that?
It's one, as generic minority, that bothers me a lot. I'm so glad the New Day wasn't on my freaking screen for they better stay off my screen for all of Black History Month, because that's a slight against Black history. But they didn't even take. Okay, so yes, Paige is extremely pale. That's fine. I thought they were initially spraying her with like tanner, like self tanner, like you were gonna see she had like a crazy orange stomach.
Yeah, tanner would have made sense, but it's just like they made her black.
Yeah,
and
so they.
Like, this is Black History Month. You guys are shoving it down our throats, and you guys love it. And it's just like, no, you don't, because obviously you don't, because you made it seem like she was all scared that she was black.
Yeah, that's. I didn't think about the notion of it being black, but that's bothersome.
One thing you guys gotta know about me, I know a lot of people hear my voice, and a lot of people do think I am a black person, for whatever reason they do. But I'm actually really, really white. I just have a really, really deep voice that an African American male would have. And the thing is about me is that and generic minority knows this from watching my channel. He knows that I call out the WWE under racism every single time. And I can't, because I hate the racism in the company. Because really, I think racism is a bunch of bullshit that should be left in the 60s. and it's time to move on. Everyone's the same. Everyone's the same type of person. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's just like, to me, it just seemed fucked up because it's like, and I know that's not what WWE is trying to do. They're just trying to tell you all the Bella Twins are making fun of her pale skin. But to me, it just takes like as a race joke because it's like, oh, fucking hey, look at her. She's afraid that she's black and Black History Month and she's pale. You know, that type of deal. That's how I took it. Like, it made it seem like kind of not disrespectful, but just kind of like fucked up in a way. I don't know if you get what I'm saying, but
no, I understand exactly what you're saying. I didn't think about it in the sense of, I thought it was just the Bellas trying to do their best impression of NWO / Beautiful People, and they just like somehow, and you know, Sin Cara got a hold of the bottles backstage and managed to. We didn't talk about his botch in the freaking Miz match. We're not going to talk about it, but I just thought Sin Cara got a hold of the bottles backstage and got them mixed up with spray paint instead of spray tanner. But apparently W is just either blissfully unaware or actually really racist, and I think we talked about it in the podcast about the predictions. I called Vincent Kennedy McMahon at the very least a mild racist, and after what you just said, connecting the dots in my head, which I was trying to make them fit, yeah, that's super racist. That's it's really racist, even if you didn't mean it to be.
Because your point of Tanner, that makes more sense than black spray paint. Like, why is she upset that black spray paint? I'm pretty sure no one would like to have their black spray paint on them, but I'm just saying, like, isn't it kind of like you're kind of saying we're racist in a way? You get what I'm saying, man.
I get what you're saying, and it's made even more racist by the notion that it's black spray paint, yet Paige constantly dresses in things that are almost jet black. So I get it. You don't want to be sprayed. And we haven't had any follow-up to why she was upset about it, you know, just being sprayed in general. But if the whole point is because she's pale, which is the segment that they showed us beforehand, and they sprayed her black, which she wears jet black, yeah, that makes this segment even more racist because you're doing it with a character that is prone to wearing extremely contrasting colors, which is, she's very pale, she wears dark black, or jet black. So spraying her jet black doesn't really do anything other than to serve a very underhanded racist agenda. Cool, I guess. WWE is racist. Vincent Kennedy McMahon's a racist. Next, we got Rusev versus Garbageman, and Rusev won. I'm just happy that Garbageman's losing and getting choked out. But of course, Cena did not come to save the Garbageman because Cena is the heel.
Yeah, dude. And then like Rusev and Cena, that's for the U.S. title. Oh God.
What'd I say?
That's a waste of time. I mean, the John Cena championship is good enough, man. Now there's a unification match with the John Cena title and the U.S. title. Oh man.
I told you he was going to be chasing after that. You're like, why would John Cena? You guys really need to go watch that predictions video if you haven't already. Chase said, why would John Cena even waste his time with the U.S. title? And of course, being me, I'm like, well, Chase has more wrestling knowledge than I do. He's a little bit better than this I am, or a lot better. Yeah, you're right, Chase. Why would he waste his time? But lo and behold, the kid with a degree in psychology was right about the psychology and stupidity of WWE.
Maybe the WWE, that was like an error right there on their part. Maybe they forgot to remove that. Like, because that's just dumb. Like, oh my God, like, Russo's already going for the John Cena title. He doesn't need to fucking... I just don't get it.
I don't know what to tell you, man. I mean, you can't have Rusev beat... Well, they won't allow Rusev to beat Cena the way he's been beating people, which is just flat out choking them out. And he just can't, because it's WWE and it's John Cena, he's not going to beat him clean, so, which will kill the Rusev character, because he just chokes people out and beats them. That's what he's been doing. He's been beating people. So you're going to go completely against the grain in order to make sure he keeps his title so people don't get mad. But people are going to get mad because you're going against the grain of his character, which you've been building, which is stupid. So, WWE is stupid. And that's that. This goes back to nothing makes any sense around here. Match was fine. Garbage Man eats dirt. That's amazing. Garbage Man getting choked out is amazing on any given day. But when you get announced that it's for the U.S. title, you're like, well, now Cena has to win or lose / get the DQ win in some janky way and completely undermine the whole fact that, yes, Rusev is kind of like an atypical heel where he comes out and he'll fight on his own terms. But once he gets into a ring with someone, he straight up beats that person. And they're gonna throw that away because Cena. But why even put the U.S. title? I get the U.S. title probably gives it a little bit more oomph in the minds of like casuals. Like, ooh, the title's on the line. Cena's probably gonna win it. You know, and it's supposed to give it like a little extra oomph, but it doesn't. It just gives it a little extra duh.
Yeah, exactly. Just like, why? Cena doesn't need this at all.
No, Cena doesn't need this, and you don't need to do this to Rusev because it's only gonna kill some of, not all of, but a lot of his character. Because he's not gonna.
Like, and even if he does win by DQ or lose by DQ, you're still hurting him. Sorry, I got the hiccups right now, guys.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm not really talking too much because it's kind of embarrassing.
No one cares what they goes. I'm sitting here sneezing and like hacking my lungs out. I just keep moving away from the mic. But yeah, it just adds extra dirt to this match. And it's almost like the idiot Fringe booked it, or Sin Cara. Like he just accidentally like typed in US title on the freaking screenshot of the announcement for the match. Like, Sin Cara, get off the freaking production van. Oh, I'm sorry, guys. It's hilarious to me that even though Sin Cara is a completely different person now, playing the Sin Cara character makes you botch things. Freaking botched a back body drop. Jesus Christ. Whatever. So, yeah, Rusev versus Cena is for the U.S. title for whatever reason, which means the Rusev character is going to start to decline in some way, shape, or form, at least in credibility, for the most part, which sucks. Moving on. Once again, Cena's a heel, did not come and save the Garbageman from getting the choke out. There was that little bit at the end of the whole, like, the flag got stuck on the thing. There was a little, once again, Sin Cara messing around in the production van. Flag didn't come down. And, freaking... I love Booker T, I really do, but it's the stuff that comes out of the mouth of the commentary table. Did John Cena have something to do with the Russian flag not coming down? I would have been so much happier had he said, like, did Sin Cara... If somebody back there would have just said, did Sin Cara have something to do with it? It's like, JBL, why can't you just say it? Just say it, man. I know, they'll probably fine you or something. Just say it. Sin Cara, you've been messing with the flag again? That would have just made me so much happier than hear, did John Cena have... The guy who didn't come down and save his quote-unquote...
You know that was just a bullshit. Like, Vince is like, God damn it. After Cena had something to do with it. Ask it, John. Ask it, like, you know, Vince was, like, upset backstage about all that.
There's a litany of things you could have said. But, like, even JBL, oh, jeez. Even JBL said something better when he was like, that's, that might be an omen, foreshadowing, justice, karma. He said everything better than, did Cena have something to do with that line? Makes it seem so much dumber. But thankfully, Rusev and Lana...
Because, like, didn't Big Show get in trouble for pulling down the flag? So,
yeah.
Like, why would Cena do something, like, obviously, on TV has been spoken of as immoral, when Cena's character doesn't really do anything immoral at all. He only tries to do the most moral thing. Because
Rusev's a heel and Cena isn't, even though Cena's a heel and Rusev is. I don't know. It's confusing. Trying to put Cena into logic doesn't work. But so that's the thing that happened. But Rusev and Lana handled the situation fine, just grabbing the Russian flag and waving it around all heavy like. That was cool. I thought they handled the situation fine. So good thing they could think on their feet.
Yeah.
Next, we get the main event: Seth versus D-Bry. In a solid match.
I feel like we're forgetting something.
What we did was we
is there like a I feel like we're missing a segment. I don't know.
We're missing the segment backstage of the Authority talking about Randy Orton.
Oh, okay, yeah. No,
I purposely did not mention that simply because
Orton's just getting his dick stuck trying to do legs to the down. He's never going to return. Hey, it pisses me off. But, yeah, let's talk about the main event. Let's do it. Oh, yeah, Daniel Bryan reported the main event was all, like, being Roman Reigns' best friend. Like, they want... Like, they're trying to, like, make it where it's like, hey, guys, Daniel Bryan really likes this dude, so maybe you should, too. They're just kind of try-hardish, but, hey, it is what it is.
Yeah, that sucks. But, yeah, he tried to be back friends with him, and Roman Reigns tried to play, like, 50% heel or just 20% boring. I don't know what he was doing or what they're doing with him, but... Nevertheless, we get the main event. Of course, like 2 seconds into the main event, we get Cena interrupting Big Show, coming to suck all the heat away. And the framing of the camera work, just from a camera work perspective, was freaking terrible. Constantly just having Big Show in the shot makes you know he's gonna do something. At least try to, by camera work, you can build the illusion that he's not gonna, even though we know.
Yeah,
And they even try to like compensate because they show him too many times when Daniel Bryan puts Seth Rollins in the yes lock. They show the long shot of the Big Show standing really close to the ropes while Seth is trying to reach it with his foot. They show it so many times that I think even they realized it, and they just kind of took him out of the frame when he pulls freaking Seth Rollins under legs onto the rope. It's
and then it looks bad too because you don't even know that Big Show's pulling it. It was just kind of like, well, you know, but it looks like a terrible shot because it's just like, what was that? Like, you just, huh? Like, and especially if someone just like tuned in and they didn't know what was going on, it was like, what was that? That was just like an awkward shot, like, you just saw him get dragged.
Yeah, it's just like your framing could have been so much better. If you know you're gonna frame it bad, well, now here's the thing: if you know you're gonna be bad, or if you know you're doing something wrong, just keep doing it. Make it comical. Put Big Show's like whole back into the shot. You know, like how they used to do Mark Henry on his entrance, just have his whole back out. You know, you gotta flow with it. You can't try to hide from. You've been framing him this entire they pan over to him like 3-4 times. You can't hide from it now. So by taking him out of the shot and cutting him out of the frame, you make it so much worse. Like every time WWE tries to put a Band-Aid on what's clearly an open bleeding wound, they make it so much worse.
Yeah, and so Bryan and Rollins, they wrestled a really good match as expected.
Mm-hmm.
Heard reports there's a dude sitting in the audience actually tonight wearing a full mask getup and everything, and everyone thought it was Randy Orton. Like everyone was just like, oh, this looks like Orton and stuff. But it turns out that's actually the Boogeyman. So the Boogeyman doesn't like to show his face without a face paint, which is kind of cool, but at the same time kind of weird. But it's cool because he likes to keep kayfabe alive. So good on you, Boogeyman. But it pretty much trolled a lot of people. And a lot of people, like, not just me, but a bunch of people have been waiting for Randy Orton's return. They're just saying, man, when is Randy going to finally come the fuck out? Because, like, it's been reported, like, he's backstage and he's doing stuff. Obviously, he's around. But it's just like, when are they going to pull the trigger and finally get him back on the television set for us? Because it's just like, we're sitting there and it's just like, it just feels so anticlimactic when every time he doesn't come out. Maybe it'll be better once he does come back. Maybe I will be happy once he comes back. But at the same time, it's just like,
Yeah, it goes once again back to our prediction videos. Like they're gonna miss the boat on him coming back. Tonight was a perfect opportunity to have him do so. I mean, there's been other times in the past, but I mean, if you're gonna wait, you can only wait for so long before you're like, okay, you want to have him quote unquote come out of nowhere and try to bring back that whole RKO meme. Okay, that's fine, but it's also still gotta make sense, WWE, and that's really the crux behind one, the current product, and two, especially tonight. Things gotta make sense, WWE. That's all we want. Daniel Bryan winning his thing, going on to face freaking Roman Reigns. Fine, it makes sense, it works. But the lead up to stuff, and like this lead up to Orton coming back, this was the time to do it simply because, well, what's Seth gonna do? Why not have a face Orton at Fastlane? Why not have Orton come out tonight? Why, it's just everything needs to start making sense. And a lot of people, especially my friends who listen to it, gave me guff because, our review of the show when all the legends and returners came back, it was great. But it's like everything made sense that night. The fact that the returners were there is just like, that was a thing that happened. But most of it made sense. And we were giving it a pass because we liked these people and what they were doing was making sense. But tonight, just there was nothing to really latch onto. Yes, the matches were, for the most part, other than Sin Cara botching a freaking back body drop, worked fine, but nothing makes any sense. And when you can poke holes in the logic of WWE, what's going on in the current product as they're setting up for a pay-per-view, after the first week when they start setting stuff up, you know that the rest is not going to be great. And we don't want that. We want to see stuff make sense and not be able to poke too many holes into it until we get to, the pay-per-view. But that's not going to happen because it's WWE.
Uh-huh.
And that's that. It's just a night. We turned Roman Reigns into the challenge accepted meme, so that's a thing. He just comes out accepting challenges that don't make any sense, and we made nothing made any sense. It's a night of lacking sense, and that's we'll see what happens next week. Chase and I'll try not to be so quote unquote pessimistic about it. I say quote because someone else said that to me.
Well, we were positive for like
Yeah, we were actually positive about everything. We're just the holes we were poking were things that like need to be addressed because it just doesn't make any sense. Once again, this goes to what we said earlier. Everything was fine, just didn't make any sense. The matches were fine, and just nothing made any sense. Even the matches of who they were facing were fine, but the stories that are being built around them just don't make any sense. Except for Miz and Mizdow. That's the only thing that made sense tonight. Other than that, that's it. That's the end of the show. And you all check Chase out if you don't already for some odd reason. Subscribe to me. I'm ever so slowly, about to push 100 subs, and that'll be awesome. Follow me on Twitter at Generic Minority. Follow Chase. Watch our prediction video where we literally go like I think an hour or so, 40-something minutes, and we outline the current roster and exactly where each, in alphabetical order by the way, each person is going to be for the year of 2015. So if you want to hear whether or not our prediction is that they're either going to be with the company, not whether or not they're going to be a star, if you really want those in-depth thoughts about, maybe you were like, well, yeah, they talked about Curtis Axel for like 2 minutes, but I really want to know what they think about it. Well, go watch our prediction video. It's really good. Chase and I give some really good detailed thoughts. Other than that, catch you next week. Hopefully Raw will make a little bit more sense. Peace.